little bit of a diagram, a mind map, sorry, even, sort of explaining a little bit about which direction we sort of want to go from. So much like the last slide, but this is more relevant to the logo itself. So this is a lot of stuff that we need to take into consideration, such as the design itself, the fact that Lloyd Pascal want to show that they've been around for a long time, their heritage, their image, their colour. The colour is very important because I feel like the colour that they have at the moment is very dark. So it'd be nice to get a new colour palette in.
Is that your suggested colour palette there?
Yes, that's a suggested colour palette. Obviously, using competitors as well to sort of figure out a little bit about their colours, but not obviously taking anything away from that. But
why do you think those colours in particular?
I think they're very neutral. I think they're very warm colours. Personally, I think they'll. I think when mixing with this type of business, I think it's not to go too vibrant. I think it has to still be quite soft, almost like what they have at the moment, but just a little bit more colourful. I think the colours that they've got at the moment, I think their website currently is a bit drowned out. I do think they're in need of a revamp. So these are the first drafts. Obviously, use of the colours down here. So obviously very similar colours. However, these are just a handful of what they originally were. Sorry, is it hard to say?
No, they're black and white, aren't they?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh no, sorry. These are green. Hang on, sorry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, the monitors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I was kind of like you know how some screens you can't see quite.
Yeah.
And I thought, is that green at the top left?
I do apologise.
Oh right, okay. No, that's all right.
It's not great.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are just a couple of examples that I've used in sort of trying to get across. Obviously, very simplistic. I mean, first off, starting with the main focus really from the top is typography and finding the right font and the right use of text to sort of present their. So the idea of this was it was supposed to be a simplistic sort of to have one maybe old typeface, so Lloyd in a sort of a serif font and Pascal in a sans serif font, both very different, but one looks more modern than the other. So it sort of shows almost the journey that they've had to get to this point. Obviously, sort of highlighting heritage a bit more. The dates have been used, so the established date, which I think is quite important. It sort of shows how long they've been around. It shows that it's a brand that you can trust. Sort of moving down from that, I've started to introduce logos as a sense. So more like marks that are easy to sort of establish. So mainly the use of the initials, a bit like the previous logo. So L joining into a P, which is this one right there. Very, very similar again. This one, which a bit logisticsy, but works in the sense that it's very sort of involved in the importation, which is what they do. In sort of importing to consumers, that's a big part of their journey from the Middle East.
What do you think? I mean, the top ones don't have a kind of logo as such. The typography is the logo,
yeah.
And then the bottom ones obviously have that symbol you could use. What for you is the benefit of having a logo like a symbol like that?
Well, a symbol.
You know, like the
LB.
This,
yeah.
Because you could use just that, couldn't you? Eventually, once the brand gets more established.
Yeah. Well, in that sense, pretty much in that sense, I find that it's easier to sort of become more recognisable with a mark as such as a logo, such as McDonald's and KFC. All of these things that may be relevant to. That don't use typography, they just use symbols or letters or marks to establish their brand, and they become very recognisable. And I feel that a mark is more recognisable than probably text in that sense.
Okay.
Again, moving down, different variations. in this one we've got a border stretching around. This is sort of more or less to symbolise a box in the section because of the importation. So it was a big. I quite like using sort of stroke technique around the box, sort of to illustrate that it's not just, obviously you can't just use text as such, but more or less. Sorry, I don't know where I'm going with that. Basically, it was just sort of to add to the fact that maybe the typography itself doesn't work on its own. So this would be probably maybe a nice aspect for maybe the website.
Okay.